welcome everybody to our seventh Sunday virtual, and this is Sunday, May 3rd, World Peace. So I'm reading from our daily word, and the affirmation for this week, for this particular day is, I contribute to peace in the world. And I read, when I learn of conflict in my community or in the world, my response may be frustration, sadness, or anger. If I have those feelings, I remember that I'm more than merely human. I am a living expression of God, heir to all that God is. I use my divine faculties of wisdom, understanding, and love to create the abiding peace that is my birthright. Centered in divine peace, I realize that every person is as much an expression of God as I am. As differences dissolve in a way that transcends human understanding, I come to know oneness with all the world's people. I let this realization shape my response to every person and every situation. In an awareness of my oneness with all people, my thoughts, words, and actions contribute to peace in the world. And from John 17, verse 22, it reads, the glory that you have given me, I have given them, so that they may be one as we are one. And so let us take this notion of world peace within our own open-heartedness. Our own contribution to world's peace starts with us. So I contribute to peace in the world and invite you to just be still for ever so brief a moment as we contemplate how we bring peace into our world. Now we bring ourselves back to this moment of now, and again we affirm our affirmation for the daily word, and it reads, I contribute to peace in the world, and so it is. Amen. Amen. I got an email this past week from a friend who said, you know, I've been listening to your talks, and although they're awe-inspiring, each of them are, there's no doubt about that, but they wanted to know the difference between judging and judgment. And I thought it was a really good question, especially during this moment in our lives where there is so much to be gleaned from this virus that we're experiencing. It's hard to discern what is the truth and what is not the truth, what is opinion also comes into play. So we're going to deal with three particular words: judgment, judging, and opinion. And how does it relate to our relationship with God? And so I come from John, who is our metaphysician, and from John 7, verse 24, do not judge according to appearances, but judge with righteous judgment. And it comes to no surprise that in this moment in our lives, we're all experiencing some inner turmoil that is caused by our lives being completely different than they were a brief 6, 7, 8 weeks ago. And so we find ourselves judging what's being said, done by ourselves and by others. We start to judge every little decision we make because is it the right one or is there something else I should be doing? And so when we think of the 12 Powers book by Charles Fillmore, he took the time to do some homework on all of our 12 spiritual faculties. And judgment is one of our spiritual faculties. And it takes place in the pit of our stomach. And we've all experienced the stomach talking very loudly to us. And it says, I'm upset about something. Or, you know what? Everything inside me tells me this should happen. And the fun part is that we are such individual expressions of God that that pit in our stomach is different for each of us. It tells us something different every time. The short version that I always took for the spiritual faculty of judgment is coming to a fork in the road and you have to decide left or right. And you go within and seek the wisdom of God to discern left or right. And then we make that decision. That's the faculty of judgment. Judgment is within us, guiding us and moving us forward. And if it's easier, if we take the word judgment out and replace it by wisdom, then when we get to the fork of the road, what is the wisdom of God within us to know what decision to make? That's judgment. And interesting, in that definition, so brief as it was, never did I mention another human being. But judging is putting another human being in the mix. When we are discerning our own path, it is up to us to decide what's best for us. But judging is the outer force which allows us to say that someone else should be doing something else based on my wisdom. And that's not unique to us. That's us opinionating our belief onto another human being. We all do it. It's part of the human nature within us to think that what we know is best for us. And of course, if we know best, then everyone should be doing what we think is best for them. The faculty of judgment is only our inner wisdom guiding us for what's best for us. And the 5 senses tell us many different aspects of what we think is best for another human being. We see someone doing something that we feel is not right, because after all, we know what's right. They should be doing what we're doing. Unfortunately, or fortunately, we are all individual expressions of God, all on our own journey of God. Therefore, what we choose to do with our wisdom and our guidance is best for us, and may not, and probably is not, best for them, because we are not in their shoes. Even if we think we know it all, we could still die from a misprint. Because what we're reading and what we're putting inside our minds is created based on our experiences of life. All that we've experienced changes the direction with which our faculty of judgment goes into. So you see, when we have an opinion, it is based on our judging of what we think is right or wrong. And that opinion can only go as far as our individual selves. So it's important in today's lesson to recognize that the faculty of wisdom and judgment that resides in the pit of our stomach is our inner guidance. And that's all we ever have, is our inner guidance. And it is there that we tune in to discern which is the best course of action for us. And so if we choose a particular course of action, then we go do that. And it's not up to us to impose on another human being what we think is their course of action. And it lends ourselves to always be frustrated, because naturally there's going to be people who will not be doing what you think they should be doing. And that's where we come to getting still and recognizing that the only human being I am responsible for is me. And that's very difficult, and it sounds self-centered, and it sounds so minuscule in this huge universe that I'm the only one. But you are the only one that can discern what is best for you, and it has nothing to do with another human being. And so we struggle with this because we want everyone to follow the rules. I mean, after all, what does the CDC say? We have banners out on the road that says follow what CDC guidelines are. And in our heart of hearts, we want to. We want to do what's best. And we struggle with that because it's such a traumatic change in our lives, because we're not done. There's more to be done in discovering what this virus can and can't do to each of us. And so we discern for ourselves. And when we allow ourselves to not judge another human being on what their pit of their stomach is telling them to do, there'll be less angst in our stomachs. We'll be able to stand tall within our own space and say, this is what I have chosen to do. This is what my guidance tells me to do. And you can choose whatever it is you choose that's best for you. As for me, this is my space, and I'm going to honor that space. And so when we think about our opinions about what's right, what's wrong, it's only our opinion. And it's based on faulty judgment, because isn't it true that how do we know what's going on for another human being? We don't know. It's an opinion of what we think we know. And we will never have all the details that it takes to make the decision for another human being. You see, because we're in a place in our lives where, as a general rule, those of you watching this video are adults. We don't have children at home that need and count on us to make decisions for them. If we do, if we're grandparents and we're guiding another human being, that's the responsibility that we take on to see that no harm comes to another human being. But as adults, all we have is our own method with which to discern which fork in the road, the left road or the right road, for us to take. And so I invite you this week to be mindful. Are you judging another human being based on our limited information about what's right and what's not right for them? Because all you have is what's best for you. And so although this week's homework is not something that can be measured with a piece of paper like a gratitude statement, but I ask you, when the pit of your stomach starts to say you're not happy with life, it's probably because you're judging others and what you think is best for them. And all you have to do is remember what you think is not important to them. What you think is only you have your guidance and your interactions with that intuitive nature within us that guides us all along this journey. So I invite you to be mindful of how we view what others might be doing. And all you have to do is go within and mind your guidance and be part of that cycle. And so I wish you the best. Thank you for joining us. And we are always open and receptive to your tithes and love offerings. And so with that, I bid you adieu and God bless.